Hi, I'm Gareth Green, and in this video we're going to be thinking about playing from a lead sheet. And just as an example, a wonderful jazz standard, the first 8 bars of Lullaby of Birdland. So for those of you who are well into reading off lead sheets, forgive me if I just say one or two obvious things, and then we'll get into a little bit more detail on this as we go. So if you're unsure what I mean by a lead sheet, well, what you get is what you're looking at. It's a melodic line, so here's the melody of the song, and then above the melody, at various places, you can see there are chords indicated, and they're telling you which notes to play. How does this work? Well, basically, if you've just got a letter on its own, that's just telling you it's that chord. So if you see C, it's a C major chord. So a C major chord would be C, E, and G. If you're not quite sure what a major chord is, you can think of it like this one. If it's a chord of C, well, your bottom note is C, so there's C. And then you're thinking if it's a major chord, count up from there, 1, 2, 3, 4 semitones. And then from there, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you've got 4 semitones above the bottom note and 7, you've got a major chord. If you've got 3 semitones above the bottom note, but the same top note, 7, then that's a minor chord. And you would see a little M after the letter. So this would be C, if you just saw C, or, let me just put this on the board actually, so that would be C. Or if you saw this, C, M, that would be C minor. So this is C, and this is C minor. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, if you see something else, like you see sometimes on this score, we've got funny little numbers after it. This is when we're talking about extending a chord. So, for example, if I were to see a chord, like say we've got a chord like D, M, D minor. Well, if I'm finding a D minor chord, it will be this. It's built on D. If you're thinking, how do I know that's D minor? Well, there's D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's got 3 and 7 above that D. That's a D minor. But if it said D minor 7, which it does in this example, for example, at the beginning of bar 4 or the beginning of bar 6, well, this is number 1. This is 3 above number 1. This is 5 above number 1. This is 7 above number 1. So that will be a D minor 7. You can see there's a G7 as well, for example. So a G chord is G, B, D. That's like a G major chord, G. And the 7th would be this, because that's number 1. That's number 3 above number 1. Number 5 above number 1. There's the 7 above it. And if it said 9, if it said G9, then I would have my G7 and this would be number 9. If it said 11, it will be this. If it said 13, it will be this. And after 13, number 15 takes you back to the note you started on. So you won't see that. You'll see it up to 13. So that's dealing with what we call extended chords when you see 7, 9, 11, 13. Okay, so I've put some examples of that kind of thing on here. Now you get other funny little things, like you notice in bar 7 it says C major 7 followed by C7. Well, what does all that mean? Well, if I've got C, that's my C chord, so that's a C major chord. And if I put a major 7th above that C at the bottom, I get a B. But when it says C7, I'm going to use a B flat. That's going on to some kind of F chord, all right? So if it says major 7, well, that would be that. But if it just says 7, it would be a minor 7th. All right, so you have to know a little bit about intervals to get hold of that one. But I hope that makes reasonable sense in the general format of things. You get other little details as well, don't you? Like you notice the second chord says F sharp minor 7 flat 5. So you might think, oh my goodness, what does all that mean? Well, let's see if we can unpack it. If it says F sharp, well, that means that the bottom note of my chord is F sharp. I'm looking for a minor chord. So if you know that this is F sharp minor, that's great. If you're not sure about that, you just do what I've just explained. You go 1, 2, 3. So that's the note there. 4, 5, 6, 7. That would give you an F sharp minor. Okay, if it says F sharp minor 7, which is what the second chord says, well, there's number 1, there's 3 above number 1, there's 5 above number 1, here's 7 above number 1, so that's an F sharp minor 7. But then it says flat 5, so this note, this C sharp, is number 5. So it's just saying take that note and flatten it, just bring it down a semitone so it becomes that note. So do you see how we got there? We started with F sharp minor, we added a 7th, and then we flattened the 5th. So you see how that goes. The third chord in this example, B7, flat 9. Let's think about that. Well, B, so that's saying B major. So that's going to be B, D sharp, F sharp. If you know that's a chord of B, that's brilliant. If you don't, you start with your B and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, because you're a D sharp. Then 5, 6, 7 gives you the F sharp, so that's fine. Then it says, let's add a 7th. So that's going to be an A. That's a minor 7th above that root at the bottom. And then it says in brackets, flat 9. Well, the 9 in B would be a C sharp, so a flat 9 would be a C natural. So you get the idea as to how these things work. I mean, I'm just trying to do this quite quickly just to explain to people who may not be sure what these chords are. So hopefully with a little bit of work on that, you will be happy finding yourself around these basic chords. Now, I've purposely chosen this because they're not basic chords. There's lots of songs where you could just sit around and, you know, you could play a song like Great Balls of Fire or something, and you could just do a C, a G and an F chord, and that would get you through the song. Nothing wrong with Great Balls of Fire, great, but much easier to play from a lead sheet in a way. This is purposely more complicated. There's one thing that makes it a good song, is it's got some real juicy chords in it. So the first job is try and work out what these chords are. Now, if I play this tune straight, it probably wants to have a little bit of swing in it, doesn't it? So you can kind of soup up the rhythm a little bit with that. So you can work on the melody, just getting that to swing along a little bit. And then you could get used to finding these chords. So can I put down an A minor chord with the first 4 notes? And then here's that F sharp minor 7 with a flat 5 we talked about, would be that chord. Here's that B7 flat 9 we talked about. Great chord, isn't it? And you see, once you've got the basic notes, you can spread them out as you want. You don't necessarily want them all down there. So I'm taking these 2 notes and I'm putting them up there, because otherwise it can be a bit thick if they're all down the bottom. And then I'm looking for an E9 chord. Well, here's the E. That will be the 7th. That will be the 9th. So we're going to put those notes down there. A minor 7, well, this is A minor 7, but I might space that chord so it sounds good. Something like that, you see. If I just put all the notes down there, it's a bit thick and grumpy. So what I'm going to try and do is take out some of those middle notes and space the chord differently. And then I'm looking for F major 7, so this is the chord of F. So the major 7 is going to be there rather than the minor 7 that we might otherwise use. So I'm going to put that underneath the melody. You see, I've just sort of thought, well, do I need that A there? It's in the tune, so I could take it out, thin out the chord a little bit. Can I find a D minor 7? Well, this is D minor. There's the 7th, so I can put that underneath there. And so we go on, G11. You see what's going on. So you might get to a point where you could play the melody and just put those chords down underneath. Sounds perfectly right, doesn't it? Then, of course, what you can then do is to see if you can make it a little bit more sophisticated. You know, instead of just plonking down chords, what can I do with those chords? Do I have to play them as what we call block chords? Or could I put a bit of rhythm into the left hand? It depends what the style and the mood of the song is. This one probably doesn't want to be kind of overdone, but it could do with a little bit of flexibility in the left hand. So you can spread out these chords, you can arpeggiate the notes, you can have one note in the bass, so you can have chords in the rest of the chord in the right hand, but you can vary it. When the melody stops, you might think, actually, instead of just getting to the end of bar 2, I'm putting down E9. It's a perfectly nice chord. Is there something I can do just to kind of link up, you know? Something like that to get a little sort of connection in the left hand there. Otherwise, it's going to be very kind of stop-start. So the next job is, once you've kind of got familiar with these chords and what they are, is thinking, what can I do in the left hand just to kind of make it a little bit more interesting? Maybe something like this. So on. Do you see? It's not doing anything over fancy, but it's just kind of getting a little bit of rhythm into those chords as well. So if you're experienced at dealing with lead sheets, well, you know, you'll be away with this. And maybe what this might be introducing some people to is more sophisticated chords. And so it's an invitation then to get happy about dealing with these extended chords, the 7th, the 9th, the 11th, the 13th, kind of doing little alterations, flat 9s, flat 5s, that kind of thing, to get into a more colourful language. It may be that you've got stuff that you're playing or writing yourself and you think, actually, I could do with some more interesting chords than just the things that I use all the time. Well, here's an example of something using something more sophisticated. It may be that you're somebody who's okay doing the kind of basic chord stuff, C's, G's and F's and that kind of thing, and you want to just have a bit of experience doing something which is a little bit more complicated from a chord choice point of view. So here's an exercise that you could work through and see if you can develop all that. Or it may be that you're just wanting to be able to read a lead sheet with more sophisticated stuff on it a bit more fluently. So that's all good. But then you may be one of those people who's kind of cracked all that stuff, but you're still thinking, sounds a bit clunky when I just bung down a chord in the left hand. Lots of people just tend to put clumps of notes in the left hand, and that doesn't necessarily work very well. So taking some of those notes out of the left hand, putting them in the right hand, spreading them out a little bit, and trying to get some of what's going on underneath the melody on the move a bit. So we've got something a little bit more interesting going on in the rhythm and in the spacing of the notes. So just a brief excursion through the first 8 bars of Lullaby of Birdland as an illustration of how to develop playing from a lead sheet. Enjoy.